The Basketball EuroLeague, presented by Spalding.
Hi, Roy Birch reporting for Eurosport on stage 7 of the EuroLeague. We've got features on a gentleman in Madrid. We're going to talk about the shot clock. We have the top 10 moves of the week and also the All-Star 5 of the week. And the week's most valuable player.
My name is Dejan Tomašević from Budućnost Podgorica. I like EuroLeague, I like ULEB, I like basketball.
A great player, Tomašević. But this week's most valuable player for EuroLeague Stage 7 is 20-year-old Barcelona forward Pau Gasol. Pau Gasol, 20-year-old Barcelona forward. He hit 24 points in his club's away game at PAOK Salonik this week. And his stats were very, very impressive. Going to the hoop, he hit 7 from 8 from two-point range. Here he is, he seems to have telescopic arms. He also scored his only three-point attempts, and he made 7 out of 11 free throws and took 10 rebounds. The most valuable player of the week, Pau Gasol. And from Group B, there you see the results in this Stage 7. Our first report from Charleroi. Another game of what might have been for the Belgians as they came back from 16-31 at the end of the first quarter. With Tau Ceramica's big man Fabrizio Alberto, number 14, seemed to be in complete control. The paint at both ends, that is, and Elmer Bennett, number 6, was spraying passes around at will. But once again, a zone seemed to cause the visitors real problems, and Charleroi gave the crowd something to believe. The whole arena went wild when their team hit 15 without reply to take the lead. That man Bennett, he kept Tau Ceramica in the game. Here he is, one-on-one. At the end, experience took over, and Bennett and Victor Alexander, the number 13 for Tau, they kept their poise to prevent an upset. 3 points in favor of Tau. And Cibona Zagreb, well, if you live by the outside shot, you'll die by the outside shot. An old basketball saying, and that sums up Cibona Zagreb's night. Undefeated at home before this game, the Croatian club had a miserable first 3 quarters, hitting only 6 from 20 3-pointers, and they didn't seem to want to try anything else. Kinder, brilliantly coached by Ettore Messina, played a superb team game, getting 5 players into double figures, whereas Cibona could only get 2. Emanuel Ginobili, number 6, was Kinder's top scorer with 12, and Kinder are safely into the last 16, and Cibona, well, they're still looking over their shoulder. Kinder, the away team, remember, here they are on the break, sealing a pretty comfortable, in the end, victory. And finally in Group B, AEK Athens. Well, amazingly, it was the home side AEK who seemed more nervous coming after a loss at Kinder Bologna in Stage 6, and the Lions of St. Petersburg seemed very, very confident. It was the Lions' Derek Hamilton, number 11, once an AEK player who had a brilliant game for his 27 points. And together with number 16, Steve Edwards, he guided the Russians to a 58-48 lead. But that's when Coach Ivkovic began to earn his salary, and a full-court press began to pay dividends. England's number 14, Andy Betts, in complete control of the paint, was inspiring AEK to a terrific fight back. And the Leicester and England centre top scored with 18. Great relief for AEK. And sadly for the Russians, yet another game snatched away from St. Petersburg. So AEK by 11 in the end. And there are the league tables. So it looks curtains almost for St. Petersburg Lions and Shara at the bottom with only one win each. But Kinder Bologna proudly at the top with 6 wins, 1 defeat. And there are the next games in this group. AEK at home again to Charleroi, surely a banker for them. And now we have a story on a gentleman from Madrid. The coach and manager of Real Madrid, Serge Scariolo. Even though he's only 39 years old, he has 20 years experience at this level of basketball. The responsibility of coaching and managing certainly doesn't seem to frighten this amiable Italian. He explains. There are many trainers who do both in the NBA, and there are also people who do the same in English football. With good organisation and a good flow chart, it's possible to get both jobs done. Scariolo became coach almost by accident, as that often happens, an injury as a player, and he's very happy with the change. My first 3 or 4 training sessions in Madrid were horrible, mostly because of the difficulties in translation. I kept making mistakes between correcting faults and congratulating players, and many things got lost in translation. His first experiences in coaching were memorable because he had a wonderful teacher, Ricardo Sales. And one of his desires is to coach some of the world's greatest players. My dream now is to win the EuroLeague. But he realizes that Real Madrid may not necessarily be one of the favorites to win this EuroLeague. He says the best estimate, speaking frankly, is that we'll come second in our group. Senor Scariolo certainly seems to have a cool head. And he's kept his feet firmly on the floor, saying that personal ambitions must come second to the aims of the team and the club. His dreams of taking Real Madrid right back to the pinnacle of European basketball, and he's confident that he has the ability to do just that. And the results from Group D. Of course, London Towers featuring in this group. And our first game, PAOK Salonika against FC Barcelona, with 4 clubs jostling for position on 4 wins and 2 losses. This key game was blown wide open in the 4th quarter, and once again it was the Lithuanian brigade of number 19 Koniševas and number 13 Jasikevičius who sparked the onslaught. It's PAOK in white, but Barcelona in their red and blue, they ran the show in the last quarter. The key was almost certainly the fact that George Sigalis, the number 8 for PAOK, fouled out early in the 4th, and PAOK had nobody capable of restraining Koniševas. And also the 20-year-old Barcelona forward Pau Gasol, the number 16, he had a great game with 24 points and 10 rebounds. And despite 26 from Paniotis Liadilis, Koniševas was easily the game's MVP with 29. And that 29 included an outrageous 4-pointer. Here he is, the 3, and he was fouled. He'll get a bonus for that. And the next game, Haribo London Towers against Muller Verona. This game was London Towers' last chance to make any kind of impact on the top 4 spots in Group D, and they certainly gave Verona a run for their money. There was nothing between the teams until the end of the 3rd, but with the scores tied at 63 each, the Italians ran riot with 8 points without reply and led by as many as 17 in that last period. It was the backcourt pairing of number 14 Henry Williams and number 11 Lewis Bullock with 23 points each. That really hurt the Towers. New signing Perry Carter, number 10, hauled down 11 rebounds. But now Towers with no chance of making the last 16. They must concentrate on the North European League and their domestic competition. And also in Group D, Budućnost against Opel Skyliners. Well, after gaining their first EuroLeague win in the previous stage, the Frankfurters looked revitalized and simply refused to roll over away in Montenegro. They just kept coming back at Budućnost, and 15 unanswered points after trailing 29-41 kept them in the game. For the Germans, it was Tyrone McCoy and Gerrit Terdenje who kept them close, but even though they kept Tomasevic on the bench and foul trouble, the visitors just couldn't keep Rakosevic quiet. He finished with a game high of 24. That's the number 8 for Budućnost. So in the crunch, Tomasevic again the MVP, and again Opel Skyliners on the receiving end. There are the standings. Haribo London Towers and Opel Skyliners only one win each, but Barcelona and Verona and Budućnost on top with 5 wins and 2 defeats. In the next games, Haribo London Towers away in Montenegro. And now this week's All-Star 5. At guard we have from Benetton Treviso, Peter Nomoski. He can hit off the glass, a nice soft touch. Here he is from 3-point range. And he goes inside as well. Peter Nomoski from Benetton Treviso at guard. Also at guard, Marko Milic, the Real Madrid player. Here he is, a powerhouse indeed. Getting the rebound and, well, nearly pulling the equipment down as well. And look at that lovely reverse layup. Another forward from FC Barcelona, the Lithuanian Arturas Koniševas. Experience or what? Look at that lovely pass inside and the lovely soft touch. Here he is, 3 points being fouled, and he gets the bonus as well. And his arm taken away, but remained in contention for the 3-pointer. And another forward, Fabrizio Alberto from Tau Vitoria. Another powerhouse inside, and blocking shots galore. Bumps his man off, and a lovely soft touch off the glass. And at centre, Grigory Hizniak, last week's MVP from Zalgiris Kaunas. Great shot blocker. And here he is, even shooting off balance. And that man Hizniak gives his best regards to Eurosport viewers,
I enjoy playing EuroLeague.
saying how much he enjoys playing in the EuroLeague.
And on all over the world. Thank you.
Feel the action. Be there as it happens. All the highlights and program changes with last-minute updates. Dial 11880 and get your call forwarded to the TV Guide from Telegate, a service available only in Germany. Brought to you by Eurosport and Telegate. Back to the Basketball EuroLeague. Presented by Spalding.
Back at the EuroLeague, the results from Group A. Again, a very tight group. And it's Estudiantes against Zalgiris, with both teams on equal 3-3 records. This game had overtime written all over it. It's Estudiantes in red, and the Zalgiris small forward John White is out with an injury, and the club has gone into the transfer market for a short-term replacement. EuroLeague Stage 6 MVP Hizniak had a terrific battle with Estudiantes veteran American centre Sean Van Diver, number 11, and the American had the edge with 23 points, 8 of those in overtime. Zalgiris American Steve Woodbury, number 11, began the visitors' fight back in the fourth, and the visitors actually took the lead at 70-69 with 18 seconds left in regulation. And a 3-point play from Marovic put Estudiantes 2 up, and Woodbury tied matters up from the foul line. Problem was that the effort of taking the scores to 72 each seemed to drain Zalgiris. and Estudiantes jumped all over them in that overtime period to win by 10. And Lugano Snakes, they're in white, they're playing Peristeri in blue. Coming after a heavy stage 6 defeated KK Zadar, the Swiss of Lugano needed to win at home to re-establish themselves in playoff spots, but Peristeri and their American guard Alfonso Ford, number 10, were in no mood for charity. The visitors opened up with a 9-2 burst, but Lugano hit back and led 28-25 after the first. It stayed tight until a 6-0 burst at the end of the third, which had Peristeri leading 66-60. Lee Matthews for the Snakes dunked to get as close as 69-70, but then the Greeks kept control and were deadly from the foul line. Ford once again proved his value by top scoring with 28, and the 21-year-old Kostas Zartsaris hit 21 for the winners. Peristeri are now assured of a last 16 spot, and PAF Bologna, they're in white against KK Zadar. Well, after 10 weeks ago, after the Sydney Olympics, PAF's guard Carlton Myers was injured, but here he is back playing for the first time in the EuroLeague. But he couldn't have found a tougher game against KK Zadar of Croatia. 1 win and 5 losses, and desperate to make the playoffs. The home side thought they'd put the game on ice after leading 25-10 after the first quarter, but a zone put a stop to a riot, and Zadar fought back to 71 each. The home crowd was going berserk, and perhaps that helped to make KK's Patrick Baldwin, number 6, miss a layup at 71 all, and PAF ran out by 4. There are the tables. Disappointing for KK Zadar. They're much better than their miserable record displays. At the top, Peristeri. And KK Zadar, well, perhaps a last chance, but very, very remote indeed. The shot clock was introduced into basketball to prevent teams from playing a stall. In college basketball, there would sometimes be scores of 8-6 for the whole game, or similar to that, and with the team leading, keeping the ball for seemingly endless periods of play. The limitation on how long a team could take to attempt a shot was introduced into the NBA as far back as 1954. But until this season, there's been an important difference between the NBA and FIBA, the international governing body. They set the limit at 30 seconds, but now both are synchronized at 24 seconds. Now even the finer points of the rules are exactly the same. If a shot is blocked, then the 24-second count continues, whereas when it was 30 seconds, the count was reset. It's definitely added something to the game as far as spectators are concerned. And players now, well, they have to think an awful lot. They have to keep an eye on the corners of the court, because that's where the shot clock often operates. But at EuroLeague level, it's at the top of the backboard. Torre Messina, coach to Kinder Bologna, he likes the shorter shot clock, saying that the players have much more responsibility to recognize their situations, particularly tight ball games. And Serge Scarioli, coach to Real Madrid, assesses that the 24-second shot clock has definitely quickened up the game and made it much more attractive to the fans. Again, he also reckons that it places much more responsibility on individual players, and of course the team captain, to keep his eye on the technical nature of the game. No longer do we get low-scoring games in basketball. Remember, the shot clock not reset until it hits the ring, as in the NBA. And finally, the results from Group C. Benetton Treviso in white, well, perhaps shaken by his solitary one-point contribution to Benetton's defeat at stage 6. Their number 4, Marcello Nicola, came off the bench to staff the Italians in this classic encounter. It was close throughout, with the visitors ahead only once in the entire game. Dino Radja for Olympiacos was working hard to keep control of their defensive board, but he could do nothing about the outside game of Nicola and number 10, Peter Namoski, who ended up with 13 and 26 points. Sachet for Olympiacos kept them close, but in the end, Radja, well, he had the embarrassment of having a shot blocked by Irishman Alan Tomedy. And to round off a poor night for the Greeks, David Rivers could only contribute 4 points in 20 minutes on court. Benetton Treviso 95, Olympiacos 87, and Overends in white. They're from Portugal, and perhaps it's gone beyond the stage when the Portuguese are embarrassed of being winless as yet in the EuroLeague, but for the first 25 minutes of their game against Ljubljana, they certainly gave their all and looked capable of staging an upset. At one stage, the scores were level at 55 apiece. But Overends keep forgetting the essential element of the game. You can't score if you give the ball away, and you can't afford to surrender your own boards either. An unbelievable 23 turnovers for the home side, together with Ljubljana's 21 offensive rebounds, helped the visitors to a comfortable win. So Overends remain the EuroLeague's only team without a victory, and Ljubljana are now 6 wins and 1 solitary loss. Final score, Overends 70, Olimpia Ljubljana 92. It was all far too easy for the Slovenians. And Real Madrid 104, Hapoel Jerusalem 64. Only 3 nights after their first encounter, this return game was an exhibition of sheer class from Real Madrid. Sasha Djordjevic was on the court for just 20 minutes, and he took only 5 shots, all 3-pointers, and all 5 went in. There was simply no defense from the Israelis, and Real Madrid opened up a 20-point lead early on. The game was won by half-time, with Real leading 60-35, and the Spaniards look on course for major European honours. They're now virtually certain of a last 16 place, but Jerusalem are struggling, with a question mark hanging over the future of the disgruntled Tony Dorsey. The newly naturalised Englishman, Tony Dorsey, only 3 points in Jerusalem and didn't make an appearance in Madrid. So this, a report on the postponed game. This was the game that had to be rescheduled from stage 2 because of the civil unrest in Jerusalem, and the home side had prepared meticulously for this key game. But after leading 25-20 at the first quarter, Jerusalem surrendered the initiative because their one-guard front failed to cope with Real's twin backcourt threat of Sasha Djordjevic and Raul Lopez. They combined for 34 points. Back-to-back 3-pointers from Lopez put Real ahead 57-40, and even though a third-quarter buzzer beater got Jerusalem to within 11, the intense defense of the Spanish club held firm for this decisive win. After this defeat, Hapoel had to travel away to Real Madrid, and that was going to be without Tony Dorsey. So 13 points to Real there. There are the standings. Hapoel and Overends well and truly at the bottom, and Ljubljana, Olympiacos, Benetton Treviso and Real Madrid certain now to go through. Next stage, well, pity poor Overends Aerosols. They have to travel away to Real Madrid. And now the top 10 moves of the week. First of all, we have Fabrizio Alberto from Tau Ceramica. Here he is, rebounding one-handed. And from Charleroi, another dunk from Mike Baptiste on the end of the break, bringing the crowd to its feet. Sorry about that slight break there, but the number 3 move of the week is from Dimos Dikoudis, playing against St. Petersburg for AEK Athens. There he is, inside, going all the way to the basket. The number 4 move from Estudiantes, Asier Garcia. Rebounding, catching two-handed, and making no mistake. There's the missed shot, and there's the rebound. Number 5 move is from Peristari's Alfonso Ford. Pretty easy on the end of the break, but he still had a lot of hard work to do because of the presence of that defender. Nice spin move off the glass. Marko Milic, forward for Real Madrid against Jerusalem. A powerhouse move if ever there was one. And for Barcelona, we've seen this move before many times from Francisco Elson, the Barcelona forward, the arch back. And here he goes for the easy move. From Kinder Bologna, Mayaz Smodis. Inside and just about getting off the floor. Nice pass in there. Pass off the floor and an easy dunk. And from Benetton Treviso, Marcus Brown. Here he is on the end of the break. That's a guard for you, Marcus Brown from Benetton Treviso. And the move of the week from Marko Milic of Real Madrid, the reverse slam. A lovely pass inside there, off the floor, and reverses it.
Hola, soy Alfonso Reyes.
Well, greetings from Alfonso Reyes of Estudiantes, hoping that everyone will watch the EuroLeague. Well, it's getting near playoff time. 3 more stages to go in the EuroLeague. We'll have highlights here on Eurosport, but for now, thanks for watching from me, Roy Birch. Goodbye.